I'll leave that on just to scare you people. Okay everybody, this is going to be a video about me puttering around with old electronics that have been in storage in boxes under beds. Out of sight, out of mind. Going to play around with them, see if they still work, and if they don't, and what's wrong with them, and whether they can be used, and some things I recently got for free that I haven't hooked up to my stereo system. We'll see how those go. In the process of this, I'm going to be talking about various cables and doohickeys and whatnots. I'll probably call them by the wrong name. If I misgendered or misidentified any electronics, I'm sorry if I offended any electronics out there. But anyway, I'm an old dude. I like to putter around with my things. That doesn't quite sound right. So I got this really old Toshiba satellite laptop that's been in storage for years. The screen went out years ago, rendering it useless. I could run it on the TV screen because I got this, I forgot what kind of port you call, but these are pretty universal. And this is that free monitor I got at that yard sale a few weeks ago. And it wasn't running. It said system not recognized or missing or something. And I'm like, why? So I went in there and I had pulled out the memory or the operating system card, I guess, years ago. Because I guess I was going to get rid of it because I'm going to trash the laptop. I found it in a bag upstairs and I put it in. I slid it into the port underneath. And I've got a screen now. I've got a Windows screen. I don't know if it's XP. I can't remember what it just said it was. Alright, I remember why that this went out of service and why I wasn't using it anymore. I thought it was because of the screen, but that's not the only problem this computer has. It just runs really slow. See that hourglass that's been on there for many minutes now? There's something that's making a grinding noise in here. It's just not able to do anything. That's when I gave up on it. So there was a good reason that I had taken the operating system, the memory card out of here or whatever, because I had never intended to use this again. It was nice. I can see that on here. At least I have a screen where I can see what's going on and remember why I wasn't using it. So another failed but illuminating effort at trying to figure things out. This needs to be taken to a recycling center, obviously, and gotten rid of. Anyway, at least it's cool that this is working. I'm going to try something else with this. Not going to be able to run Linux or anything on this since it fails to do anything whatsoever. Alright, so the turntable is back in. It had been put in a box and hidden away. I was using this as a nook for CDs. Now I have three little crates of CDs that have to be taken care of and put somewhere. I don't know where because I am at maximum capacity shelf-wise, but it's always a challenge, an ongoing challenge to make sure that everything fits, and I have to get clever. So anyway, this does actually open up the space where this was, although that was just a storage space, so it didn't matter. I took this out, this backing that was back there. Now it's completely open back there. This little piece right there is off. It came off when I was taking this back off. It was back here. Here's the back. It was on here. Once I separated it down here on the bottom and along this side and up here, I was able to gradually get it off pretty easily. It was nailed all along here. I was able to repurpose the nails because they were all straight, so I can use them again, which is nice. I have to put a little paneling extension piece of wood here because it is hanging over, and these are the little legs, the little round legs. And I'm trying to make sure it stays stable, so I put one in the front as well to even it out. This was really nice because you ran the wires through here. That's what that was for. But I've always kind of needed to see the back. It made it hard to access the backs. It was a little bit cumbersome. Anyway, I'll put some other components here. The beauty of this turntable is that there's this button here and it comes out. Just enough room there. See, when I put this in, that made it impossible for this to come out. With the backing that was on there, it was going to go out this far when I put this shelf here. So I took it out. But now that I've taken the back out, I can put this back. This is a lot of detail that nobody needs to know, but I would like to be able to play some of my records again. I need an analog to digital converter to be able to play it through this Yamaha receiver, or just get another little receiver that I can put on here, which is kind of probably what I'd like to do. I used to have a second receiver, my original receiver. I had to trash that last year because it had a short circuit in it. Or that was a very old receiver. That receiver was 40 years old. I bought it in college and it just, you know, it was done for. Anyway, this one I've had since the early to mid 2000s. It's been very nice. I don't have a lot of complaints about it, but in order to run the turntable, I'm going to have to do something else. So the beauty of this design, of course, is you can put this somewhere and put things above it and not have to lift a lid. So if you had a traditional design where you have to lift a lid to put the record on, you obviously need space above. So the space is spoken for. You can't do anything. This is basically wasted space. I could put another component on top of this now. You know, I don't want it to be a very heavy one. You just put the record on here. It'll slide back in. I'll show you. Let's do that. There it goes. Isn't that neat? I ran this wire, which had been over here, kind of all over the place really. They're prong nailed it. I don't know what these prong nails are called, but they have two sides and you can get things to kind of stay in place. I'm going to run it on this side, kind of out of the way, going down there to the other outlet. Decided to go ahead and put those two components that I got at that free yard sale where I got them for nothing. The Kenwood tuner receiver doesn't sound as good as my Yamaha up here, unfortunately. I just can't get very good reception. Right now the reception's okay on the 3 channels I care about, the public radio stations. I always have to move the antenna stuff in the closet around because it's never been an ideal reception where this is. You know, we're pretty far from the outside here. I couldn't get the DVD player to get a signal through the television. I think it needs an HDMI cable, and this does not. This is too old to have an HDMI cable. However, it does play CDs, and it sounded pretty good. So I could use that as a CD player and a DVD burner. I don't think it really has any other functions that are going to be of use to me. It says it's a DVD player, but unless I have to have some converter, I don't need another DVD player. I'm just playing DVDs out of this Blu-ray here, this Sony Blu-ray player anyway. What I really like to have is a cassette player again, and I also like to have some analog to digital converters for the turntable, as I've said. So at least this kind of gets this. I had this in the closet, it was really messy, and I really just want to have them out and usable. And I've taken all the CDs out. I went ahead and just kind of made a little spot for some of the CDs that came out of there that's not really in the way. You can still move in here without any issue. Not an ideal solution, but at least not a horrendous one either. So as the nerdism continues here, I found this radio, this old Magnavox. It has shortwave bands on it. It has like 8 different, I guess those are the bands. You can run them across there and then run the tuner up and down. I have to say I don't understand this language, but I understand that.
To provide 21 days of paid sick days and permanent 7 paid sick days.
You know, I wasn't sure if this worked. It required a 6-volt DC power in, which I have. Had to turn that down. Yeah, I got a bunch of those. Some of these are 5 volts, some of them are 3, some of them are 6, and then some of them have like a 7.5, and then one of them is kind of a universal switcher. Here it is. I had it in a different box, of course, and that's what I'm trying to get under control here, is all these different tech things that I kind of like to have the same things together. This one has 9 volts, 7.5, 6, 4.5, 3, and 1.5? I don't know. It's got a bunch. So this is the most flexible one. Did I get this at Radio Shack? Archer. Yeah, I guess that came from Radio Shack. Kind of cool. You know, through the years you buy a lot of these because you don't know what you have and you can't find them, so you end up with a bunch of them, which I have. I got a bunch of different kind of wires, adapters over here too. A lot of computer cables in this one. some old speaker wire over there that's probably no good anymore, and some of those old RF modulators we used to use back when we were doing analog to digital TV conversions about, what, 15 years ago. Some old stuff from the turntable needles, bunches of different cables, coaxial, RCA cables, etc.
Qué bueno que haya una alternativa informativa diferente desde Cuba. Les auguro muchísimo éxito, de verdad.
Well, I heard Cuba in there, so I don't know if this is Radio Havana, Cuba, or not.
De posicionar un contenido dedicado a la comunidad LGTBI, será agradecido. De hecho, se agradece.
So see, I'm kind of dependent on that for shortwave now, because this old Radio Shack Patrolman from the 70s doesn't really work anymore. I can't get this tuner to go past a certain point. I think it gets stuck somewhere. Okay, it's not getting stuck. So I don't know what's going on. One of these had gotten stuck. So it seems to have miraculously healed. Okay, well that's interesting. It is going all the way. Okay, yeah, it went all the way. That one, though, does not have as many bands as this one does. This is a lot more flexible, and it's a lot more portable, too. This is, like I said, Magnavox. Is that the buzzer? Is that the buzzer from Russia? I'm not sure. Let's see it here.
English for listeners in North America, the West Coast, and in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, has come to an end. You can listen to this program for North America, the West Coast, tomorrow at 0 kHz, as well as on the internet at www.rri.ro/1. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write an email at engl@rri.ro. Goodbye.
Sounds like Japanese.
続いて交通情報です。日本道路交通情報センターお願いします。道が事故のため通行止めになっています。道央道上下線の音標インターと大沼公園インターの間は乗用車の方のため上下線ともに通行止めになっています。You've been listening to a pre-recorded broadcast of Classic Redneck Radio. Email info@classicredneckradio.com.
Classic Redneck Radio, okay.
Or call 856-776-1176, 856-776-1176. I'm a redneck great-grandma. My friends can't understand why I don't watch TV anymore. I'm 87, and this is all new to me. But I'm learning to fear Yahweh and do His command. I'm even writing a copy of the Torah. Thank you, Billy Redneck, and thanks to Classic Red. It's never too late to learn the truth. I'm a redneck great-grandma.
This is WRMI, Radio Miami International, Okeechobee, Florida, USA, www.wrmi.net. And the living testimony to it. He's also the high priest, standing in our behalf.
This is our show, ladies and gentlemen, and so evil, proclaiming profoundly, with deep conviction and divine anointing.
You're listening to the Overcomer Ministry radio broadcast.
Stay tuned now
from Walterboro,
as we carry
South
you into
Carolina.
our programming here
For our
on the
most
Overcomer
current contact
radio
information,
broadcast.
please
Projecting
visit
to all men.
So chaotic. Holy shit. All this religious stuff really ruined shortwave, but then shortwave stations are being shut down by countries all around the world. Not quite like the heyday. I remember when I used to listen to this stuff in the 70s and 80s. There was all kinds of stuff going on. Up until recent years, but not a whole lot to listen to now. Okay. That's some sound. I'm gonna leave that on just to scare you people. Wow. Very interesting.
Y en cuanto a las noticias que de los participantes de cada manera es un
Kibbutz Gosrim in the Galilee Panhandle. A civilian in his 30s was killed in a rocket strike on the community. Ori Shaham of Magen David Adom described the scene.
In Venezuela will not return. That's one of the main restaurants to retrieve today.
For having found out Christ. Although we were whipped, as Paul was, in our jailers we saw the potential of the jailer in Philippi, who became a convert. We dreamed that soon they would ask, "What must I do to be saved?" In those who mocked the Christians, who were tied to crosses and smeared with excrement, we saw the crowd of Golgotha, who were soon to beat their breasts in fear of having sinned. It was in prison that we found the hope of salvation for the communists. It was there that we developed a sense of responsibility toward them.
So I don't have a real component cassette player anymore, but I do have this sort of little Time Life thing. I guess it was given away. I bought this at a yard sale for $2. It has a nice kind of retro style to it. Really pretty. It works. It sounds fine. I've hooked it up to these little speakers that I got for free at that yard sale. These are Altec Lansing, and they sound fine once you get them going. So it fits in. You know, this is an output, standard headphone jack type output, and I've got the DC6. Is it 3 volt or 6? I can't remember. Whatever this takes is hooked in. It's plugged in over there on that power strip. It powers this fine. This doesn't sound great in these speakers, but it sounds good over the Altec Lansings. Now, back in the 90s, I used to air check stations that either don't exist now, or if they do exist, they don't sound the same as they used to. I used to air check. There was a bluegrass station briefly. Hold on, NPR is on. I'm listening to the BBC World Service, getting the actual news of the world that you don't get on American news. Anyway, I used to air check a bluegrass station that only lasted about 3 or 4 years in a couple counties over. It was a low watt station. It was an amazing station, but bluegrass, even in Kentucky, is not something that people want to listen to. It's not commercial. Even though they had charts and things like that. But anyway, that's another story. I did air check them quite a bit. Now, I also air checked some of the gospel stations, the black gospel stations. They would play church services and stuff, and they're awesome. I air checked WLOU. I 1350 AM, and WLLV, I think, 1240 AM, that did the same thing. So this recording was made on February 7th, 1998. Let's listen to a little bit of it. Wow, okay, so yeah, this is why I had to air check. That's why I had to air check these stations, because you're just not going to hear this on any other station. And I'm not a religious man, but I'm telling you what, if anything was going to move me to the Holy Spirit, that would be it. And I've been to black church services before. It's really exciting, and you know, it's been a while, but so anyway, yeah, I air checked a bunch of this stuff, and it's unique. And anyway, so yeah, I still have cassettes. I kept all those cassettes. I got rid of most of my pre-recorded cassettes, but anything I taped or air checked off the radio, I kept. I also recorded a lot of those Afro-pop worldwide shows from the 90s and early 2000s that were on NPR. I guess that's still on. I don't think it's on our affiliate anymore. It might be only on the internet now, I'm not sure, but I don't know if you remember Afro-pop worldwide. That was a show that really, you know, the 90s was a big push by the record companies and just by the zeitgeist in general to push international music. That kind of died, but it was really big in the 90s. And Afropop Worldwide was a big NPR show that went all around the world. They went to Africa a lot, South America, all over, and played all this music right at the time I was getting into all of that. So it was a perfect time. And I air-checked a lot of those shows, and I'm glad I did, because those shows are hard to get now. There's supposed to be an archive online of those shows, and I've gone to it, and those archives are empty. You can't really find the shows. So I've got a lot of those shows, and I would like to transfer those to CD at some point. We'll see how that goes. I'm just having fun with my gizmos tonight. I got those things set up. You can't see them very well, but we're having a good old time tonight with the components, with the gizmos, the gadgets, and digging into my cables, just seeing what I got. And I'm prepping to do some VCR VHS capture properly. I've been watching a lot of videos on how to do it. It seems like everybody and his brother has a totally different way of doing it. It's ridiculously and needlessly complicated, it seems like. And your results will vary according to the kind of laptop you have, the kind of VCR you have. And no two people seem to agree on how to do it right. So some devices capture better than others. I kind of want to do it right. If I'm going to get into this, I want to get the highest quality capture I can. But, you know, I don't want to spend a lot of money because I don't make money on this channel and probably won't be making any. So I do want to, for my own sake, capture these VHS tapes, especially as I have family tapes to do. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about all of this for now. I'm just having fun with the stuff. I'm an old guy. I like to putter around with my things. When you're an old dude, you putter about with things. So there you go.